Happy Thursday. I am filling in for Quinn today. So we have a nice class plan for us today. We're doing lots of lower body stability here, working on our shoulders, hips, and torso as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to be on the ground the whole time. This is not stable. Bear with me for 1 second. Let me flip this around. All right, so we're gonna be on the ground. We're gonna start off a little bit with some quadruped rocks to get our core nice and warmed up and our lower body warmed up as well. Let me turn this light on too. All right, here we go. We're ready. So we're gonna do a couple of quadruped rocks. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're gonna inhale, rock back. And exhale, squeeze those glutes and come back up. So we're gonna kind of go at a nice flow of our own pace, rocking back and forth. We're gonna do about 3 to 5 of them. And then after this, we're gonna move into our quadruped rocks with our adductor stretch. So again, we're just warming up the core and our hips. And wherever we're at, we're gonna make this next one our last one. And once we finish that last one, we're gonna go ahead and do a quadruped rock with our adductor stretch. So for this one, we're on the ground, same position. I'm gonna start with my right leg. We're gonna stick it straight out to the side like a kickstand. Keep that pinky toe on the ground. So from here, we're gonna inhale, rock back, same movement, but this time since our foot is out, that pinky toe on the ground, we're gonna get a nice stretch through the inner thigh and our hip here. Then we're gonna squeeze those glutes and return to that starting position. So we're gonna go ahead, moving through this again, about 3 to 5 on each side. We wanna inhale as we rock back. And then exhale, coming back forward. Really wanna breathe into the belly because that's gonna help us open everything up at our hips. So one more. And exhaling, coming up. Awesome. All right, when we're done with that last one, we're gonna go ahead and switch sides here. So we're gonna move over to the left foot. Again, pinky toe stays on the ground. That's what gives us that nice stretch to the hip. So keeping that core tight, inhale, rock back, and exhale, coming forward and rocking back. And coming forward. Nice job. You can also stay in the bottom part of this position for a little bit longer if this side maybe is a little bit tighter than the other side, or you can always do that to, really just open up the hips a little bit more, just kind of hanging out at the bottom. And we're gonna go ahead and wherever we're at, we're gonna do one more, rocking back and coming back forward. All right, we're gonna do 2 more movements in the quadruped position, and then we're going to move into some shin box today. So starting off first, what we're going to do are some shoulder cars. So what that is our controlled articular rotation. So what we're going to do is we're going to control our shoulder through our whole range of motion as we move through. So we're going to do 3 on each side. So starting with my right arm, we're going to stick it straight out in front, angle myself a little better, thumb up towards the ceiling. So from here, we want to keep our shoulders pointed down towards the ground. I like to pretend like we have headlights on our shoulders. We're going to blind the floor with them. And ear is by the shoulder. We're going to go ahead, moving nice and slow all the way up, over and around, controlling, moving through the shoulder joint versus just kind of swinging our arm around. We're going to end with our thumb right underneath our glutes here. And then we're going to come back in that same fashion. So making the biggest circle we can, pulling through our shoulder muscles. So this helps us kind of work on those smaller stabilizing muscles. And then we're going to end again with our hand in front where we started. So we're going to do 2 more of those. So again, moving nice and slow. And this shoulder for me is a little bit more difficult, because this is my injured shoulder. So this does not always feel super nice, but it does make sure that we are, again, strengthening our smaller muscles. So ending with that thumb at the glute, and then we're coming back the way we came. You might be moving a little bit faster than I am, and that is okay. If you're moving faster, we can always do more than 3 on each side. But we really do want to move nice and slow. Like I said, it's a controlled rotation. So if we're moving a little too fast, sometimes we're not using the muscles we should be. So really focusing on that. Again, ending at the butt and coming back forward. Nice and slow, making the biggest circle we can. Again, headlights on the shoulders. I'm not really making a circle at this point. And ending straight ahead. All right, great job, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and move over onto the other side. My shoulder's already feeling it. All right, so we got the left hand now, same thing. So starting by the ear, coming all the way up, over and around. Again, trying to keep those shoulders pointed down. We're making the biggest circle we can, ending with that thumb at the butt and coming back. So we're gonna do 3 on this side as well. And then we're gonna do some quadruped opposites here after this. Really just moving nice and slow through the shoulder joint and coming back. Nice job. My shoulders are really sore from earlier, so we're definitely feeling it here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do one more, coming all the way up, over and around. Great job. Ending with our thumb at our butt and coming back over. Last rotation here. And once we finished, we can go ahead and plant our hand underneath the shoulder. And final quadruped movement here, we're gonna do some quadruped opposites. So again, hands and knees. And we're gonna extend opposite arm, opposite leg. Wanna make sure I'm not kicking anything. Making sure that core is nice and tight so we have no, whoops, we want our back to be nice and flat. Also wanna make sure our hips are pointed down. So we got headlights on the hips, pointed towards the ground. And then we're gonna plant that hand and knee back up under and then going over to the other side. Another thing I do like to make sure we're focusing on is we are sinking into that back hip. So that way, if we do come off of our hand, we should be able to hold that a little bit better. Also making sure that our leg is straight out. If we go up with the leg, we get the curve in the back. Can't see because I'm wearing black, my apologies. And back down. We're gonna do 5 on each side. You may already have done a few more than I have. So I'm gonna do 5 on each side here. Controlling, wanna hold for a second or two as we extend. Breathing through again, keeping that core tight, butt to bringing the butt to the belly button so our back is flat. Push that belly button into our spine. And we're gonna do one more on each side. Finishing up nice and strong here. And one more. Awesome. All right. So once we finished 5 on each side, we're going to go ahead and sit down on the ground. So that was a lot of our warm up, again, getting the shoulders, hips, and torso ready. But now we're going to move more into our hips, into some nice stability and opening up our hips as well. So we're going to do some shin box. So for shin box, I have my left leg in front. So we're going to straight out in front and off to the side. And then same thing, back leg straight out. So at 90-degree angles in both of our knees and our hips. Sometimes I might be a little bit uncomfortable getting into this position. So take a minute, take a second, really breathe through it. And from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do just a couple reaches and then we're gonna do some more rotation in different directions. So starting off, my left leg is in front. We're gonna take the left arm, hand or elbow on the ground, whatever feels more comfortable. With the opposite hand, we're gonna reach overhead. So it's gonna start to kind of open up our side a little bit. Nice big deep breath here. And we're gonna exhale, plant the hand outside of our back leg, reach overhead with the opposite arm. So this one's gonna really start to open up the back hip here. And so we're gonna flow through this a couple times on each side. Nice big deep breath, going back to that starting position. So this is just gonna kind of get us more mobile in different planes of motions. We're gonna exhale, plant, and reach. Again, this is, part of that stretching component of the class, but also really working on getting our hips ready for some stability things in a little bit. So plant the hand, reach overhead. And exhale, plant and reach outside of the back leg. This one, when we are doing it on this side, we really want to focus on relaxing the back hip. Sometimes if we're a little tense there, it's going to feel a little worse. And we're going to do one more, starting at the first position. Really reach as far as we can. And exhale, plant and reach. Awesome. On the next exhale, we can go ahead and return to our starting position. And from here, we're going to do some leaning forward and then rotating and leaning again. So starting off, arms straight out to the side. We're going to lean forward, bringing our chest towards the front shin. Use the core, squeeze the glutes, stand back up. And by stand, I mean sit. And then we're going to rotate towards the back leg. Same thing. So we're nice and tall. We're going to kind of bend forward towards that back leg, working on getting our back hip nice and opened up and returning to that starting position. So we're going to do 5 of these total. So coming forward, coming back up, and then rotating through the spine, going down and back up. So this again, working on stability, working on stretching through our hips as well. This can be a little bit uncomfortable. We want to make sure we try and keep those knees and our ankles and our shins on the ground the whole time. Really is a true testament of our stability and mobility if we can. Great job. We're going to go ahead and do one more. So come forward, keep that core tight, and then opening up. All right. Up next, this one is a more difficult one that's really gonna kind of help us with stability, but also help us recognize if we need more stability in our hips. So for this one, what we're gonna do is our back foot here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna press that heel into the ground for 3 seconds, and then we're gonna squeeze our glute and we're gonna lift that heel off the ground for 3 seconds. So we're gonna do each way. I just got a huge cramp in my hip here. All right. So we really want to make sure we're staying nice and tall. If we lean forward, we're kind of cheating a little bit. So we're going to press that heel into the ground. So pressing 1, 2, 3, and we're going to squeeze that glute as much as we can. Lift the heel off the ground. 1, 2, 3. So if you notice, my foot didn't move, so that's okay if yours does not. So we're going to do that a few more times. So pushing into the ground. 1, 2, 3. And lift. 1, 2, 3. Gosh, I'm getting it. Not feeling so comfortable there. All right, we're pushing through out of comfort zones today. Pushing to the ground. 1, 2, 3. And lift. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're gonna do one more. It's not comfortable. We're pushing through. 1, 2, 3. And lift. 1, 2, 3. I do want to take a quick second to point out here too that sometimes we feel like we don't have the range of motion or the mobility to be able to move in certain positions, where it actually is more of a stabilization issue. So for that one, if you saw my back foot wasn't really moving, but if I pick up my back foot, I can move it. So I do have the range of motion and the mobility, but to control it through that range of motion, that's what stability is. So that is that difference. So before we switch over fully to the other side, we are going to flip our legs around. I want us to work a little bit on some switching between each side. So what we're going to do, we're going to place our hands back behind us. In that shin box position, we're going to lift one knee and the other, flipping over to the other side, and then back and forth. So we're going to kind of work through our range of motion here. So this is going to help working on our internal and external rotation of our femurs, which basically is just a fancy way of saying moving through the ranges of motion that our hips allow us to do. So it's going to help us with, getting better squat form, getting better like mobility movement through our movements. If it's starting to be a little bit too easy doing that, you can always stand back up, reach those arms out, and flipping over back and forth. We're gonna do a few more here, one side and the other. And we're gonna do this one more time. So we're switching over and we're gonna end up with our opposite side shitbox ready to rock and roll. So now I have my right leg in front, left leg out to the side. This is also where you might notice that this side maybe feels a little bit less tight, a little bit more mobile. That's totally normal. This side for me feels better. So we're gonna do that same order of events. So I'm gonna place my right hand or elbow off to the side, reaching overhead with my left hand. Nice big deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, plant on the outside of the back leg, reaching over. So again, we're getting some stretching into the spine of the low back, but as well as that back hip. And we're gonna exhale into that first position, reaching as much as we can. And exhaling, planting, coming over. And a few more, planting and reaching over. And back to our second position. And we're gonna go ahead and do one more each side. Coming down, first position. And exhaling into our second position. I feel like a dance instructor saying first and second position there. And we can go ahead and return to our starting position. And from here, we're gonna do our bend forward, our twist and bend. So 5 of these. So arms straight out to the side, same deal as before. We're gonna stay nice and tall through our torso, bring our chest down, keeping our knees and ankles on the ground, pushing through, rotate, and opening up. And I just realized I totally skipped over one movement I wanted to do. That's okay. We're doing good. So we're coming forward, standing up, rotate and bend this way, and back, and coming forward. Nice job, everyone. Controlling through the torso to rotate, and bending down. Got 2 more coming up. Good job. Opening up. And last one. Forward and twisting and opening up. Awesome. All right, next up we're gonna push through the heel and then lift. And again, if you want to try it out on this side too, if you want to grab your heel, see if you have that range of motion here. It could be helpful to find that out before we do our pushing and lifting. So staying nice and tall again, pushing the back heel into the ground. 1, 2, 3. Stay tall. We don't want to lean forward, lifting up. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna actually turn this way a little bit. You might be able to see the difference. This leg, I definitely have more stability in. So still getting a cramp. All right, we're good. All right, push into the ground. 1, 2, 3. And lift. 1, 2, 3. Push. 2, 3. And lift. 2, 3. Push. 2, 3. And lift. 2, 3. Last one. Push. 2, 3. And lift. 2, 3. Oh, that one always gets my hips going. All right, great job. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna kind of come out of that position. If you need to give your hips a second, you can always do that. We're gonna go ahead and stand up. Probably gonna have to move my camera angle here for y'all. So we're standing up now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna work on our stability through our feet, through our hips, and also work on some rotation. So this is called the T-spine hip mobility, but it also helps with stability. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of come forward here into a single leg Romanian deadlift. So we're gonna push our hips back and we're gonna straighten that leg. We're gonna have both our arms in front. So this is where the stability comes in of that leg. Again, really sinking into that hip. We do not have to fully go down into that full Romanian deadlift. We can kind of be up a little bit more, but we're going to have our hands out in front. So this is my left leg here. I'm going to open up towards my left side, trying to rotate as much as we can. So we're going to be nice and tall through a T here, and then coming back to that starting position. So with this one too, it's very a lot of stability here. We can always put our foot back here and then open up that way while we gaze past our thumb and then return. So we're going to do a few on each side here. So again, sinking into the hips, so pushing those hips back, slight bend in the knee. We're coming out and then opening up. We need to hold on to something or plant that foot. All good. I think I'm used to just watching that hand. All right, we're still on that same side. So sink into that hip, push our hips back, opening up that chest towards that front leg, and down, back to that starting position. All right, we're gonna do two more. Pushing those hips back and opening up. I think my hips are really feeling it right now from all of our shin box we just did. All right, last one here, push the hips back, sink it into that hip, and opening up. All right, once we stand back up, we're gonna go ahead and do that same thing on the other side. Face this way now. So same thing, sink into the hip, push the hips back, and now we're rotating, opening up towards the right side here, and back to that starting position. So this is something where you might notice, again, maybe this side is more stable than the other side. Totally normal to have that happen. We all have a dominant and a non-dominant side where it is a little bit easier. Usually my left side is more stable as I fall over. So we're gonna do 5 on this side as well. So we can plant that foot if we need to. You can also, I'm using my wall here, but if you have something you can kind of use for your help with working on that balance and stability. Sitting up. Okay, I really spoke too soon. My right leg is a lot worse than my left leg. We're gonna do 2 more of these. Push the hips back, opening up. Working on our rotation through the spine, helping open things up. And last one, push those hips back. Spread that foot out, heel big toe, little toe. Open up, push the ground away, and come back in. Awesome. All right. We definitely have done a lot of different mobility, stability things here. So we're going to finish out here on the ground. We're going to get back to our hands and knees. We're going to do 2 more movements to help again with a little bit of mobility, but also kind of just open everything up towards the end. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of the frog pose here. So what we're going to do is kind of like a child's pose, but we're going to turn our feet out. So this is going to help us work on, again, the internal rotation of the femur. So knees are a little bit wider than hip width. Toes are pointed out, heels on the ground. And when we're ready, we can come to our elbows. Sometimes I find this makes it a little bit easier to be closer to the ground. But we're going to go ahead and start to push those hips back. Nice, big, deep breath. And returning, kind of coming out of that again. So we're just going to hold this for a few seconds at a time because this can be a really intense movement for our hips, especially if we have tight hips like I do. So we're going to go ahead, coming back, rocking down a little bit. Try and keep those heels on the ground. And we're not doing it right now, which means I need to work a little bit more on this. And coming back out of it. We're going to do 2 more. Breathing through it and coming out of it. So rocking forward a little bit more. And then we're going to go ahead and do it one more time, coming back. Breathing through the tightness, push through that comfort zone. And we're going to release out of that. Then we can bring our feet back and those hands back up and our knees back up underneath the shoulders. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and kind of open everything up, open up the spine, open up our hips, everything again. So we're going to end this class with some pretzel. So this is my favorite kind of stretch for the total body. It also helps us kind of reset a little bit. So we're gonna start on one side. If you need to grab a pillow for underneath your head, feel free to do that. But we're laying on one side, and I'm gonna start with my top leg coming up over and across my body. Bottom hand is gonna be on that top knee. With the top hand, we're gonna grab onto the bottom foot or ankle. When we are ready, we're gonna inhale to prepare. And we're gonna exhale, opening up, bringing that top shoulder towards the ground. I know we did this at the end of exercise with exhales earlier. We also did it at the end of total body strength this morning as well, but there's a reason why I like to do it a lot, because it really just helps us open everything up. Right now, I'm definitely getting that nice stretch in the top leg hip and a little bit through the low back as well, which is always helpful to kind of open everything up, stretch things out. So we want to take nice big deep breaths in through the nose. And we're going to exhale through the mouth, sighing away the tension we feel in our body. Relax into the stretch. We're going to do one more deep breath. And when we're ready, we can gently release that bottom leg. And when we're ready, we can rotate our bodies, flipping on over to the other side. And same thing here. So we're going to bring that top leg up, over and across. Bottom hand on top of that knee. Top hand grabbing the bottom foot or ankle. We're going to inhale to prepare. And we're going to exhale, bring that top shoulder towards the ground. And my back definitely just cracked a little bit, which is okay. Pops and cracks are totally okay as long as there's no pain associated with that. We're taking nice big deep breaths, really relaxing our muscles with each exhale. It's really easy to kind of tense up in this position. So we really want to let the body sink in, get nice and comfortable. One more deep breath here. And when we're ready, we can gently release that bottom leg. And feel free to stay laying on the ground, or you can return to seated, kneeling, or standing. That is going to be all the time we have for today's class. So thank you all so much for joining me. Great job today. If y'all didn't hear already, we do have a new class at 4 o'clock on Wednesdays. So if you are available and want to check that one out, it is core strength and meditation with Beth. And it's a great way to kind of reset your mind, reset your body, all of that. So nice job. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see y'all soon.